Well, well, well. The Western Conference just keeps getting better and better and better. The Denver Nuggets sitting at 37 and 16 at the top of the Western Conference with the best player in the NBA, three straight MVPs, Jamal Murray, three straight 30-point games, Michael Porter Jr. playing great, Aaron Gordon, great two-way player, the emergence of Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Christian Brown, and even Zeke Naji. Michael Malone, maybe coach of the year. But the West says, we got something for you. The Dallas Mavericks officially have required Kyrie Irving from the Brooklyn Nets. And we have to talk about what that means for the Western Conference, how good Luka and Kyrie will be, and what does that mean for your Denver Nuggets. Y'all, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We are on the way to 10,000 subscribers. Woo boy. Woo boy. The West is already stacked, but this throws a particular wrench into the equation that is important. It's important because this team in particular is going to present a different kind of opportunity for success and different challenges for the rest of the teams in the Western Conference because of how Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving play as individual players. But here we go. So it popped out. It came out very recently from Shams. Breaking the Brooklyn Nets are trading Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a first-round pick, and multiple second-round picks. And including in this, Markieff Morris is also on the way to the Mavericks. So now the Dallas Mavericks potentially, I'm trying to work through what their lineup is going to look like. But right now, kind of what I'm seeing, this might be a potential starting unit. Might be a potential starting unit for the Dallas Mavericks. Looking at Luka Doncic, sorry for the misspell. I was in a rush trying to get this out. Kyrie Irving, Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kleber, Christian Wood. And then you got Tim Hardaway. You got Dwight Powell. You still got Josh Green. Is this going to be enough? Is this going to be enough? Now, my question about this is, offensively, Luka, Kyrie, Reggie, Maxi, Christian, plus Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to be elite offensively. That lineup is going to present a lot of issues for NBA defenses. You're going to have to make a lot of difficult decisions. Kyrie Irving not only is a very good on-ball player, he's a very good off-ball shooter as well. He doesn't move a lot. Like, he's not going to be Steph Curry or even Jamal in some instances, or even Dame maybe. But Kyrie also can do it. And in this offense, next to Luka Doncic, I highly suspect that he's going to do that more than he has, at least since he has with LeBron James. So having a unit of Luka, of Kyrie, Reggie, Maxi, and Tim Hardaway Jr., the defense is going to be forced to make a lot of interesting decisions. Now, they're both two of the 5 or 6 best ISO players in the NBA this year, and both of them are very efficient relative to the volume output that they have. So it's going to be interesting to watch how Kyrie and Luka team up. Again, I think that Jason Kidd is going to have a lot of work out for him, making sure Kyrie feels included in the offense, making sure Luka feels like he has a similar role in the offense, if not the same role. And then also, how do you get Christian Wood, Hardaway, and other players their touches to maximize their offensive profile? So, again, I think that the Dallas Mavericks made a good move for them in the short-term window. I think they won this trade. Right now, if you look at the difference between the trades, I think that you can say that the Mavericks have the better roster. They have a better, at least two-man punch than the Brooklyn Nets do. But on the other side of this, the Brooklyn Nets, they get Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, And right now they're looking at Spencer Dinwiddie perhaps at point, Royce O'Neal, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, Nick Claxton, and then off the bench, Dorian Finney-Smith, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, TJ Warren, and Patty Mills. Now, I don't think this is good for the Brooklyn Nets. Also, the rumor on the street is that the Phoenix Suns are interested, if Kevin Durant becomes available, for trading for Kevin Durant, as is a few teams would be very interested in that, including the Denver Nuggets will call about that if they haven't already. So again, this is going to present some interesting scenarios for the Western Conference because Luka is already a singularly great individual talent in NBA history. A 60, 20, and 10 game this season. He is averaging roughly 33, 9, and 8. He's putting up better efficiency than he ever has in his career relative to the regular season. And Luka is one of the 4 best players, I'd argue, in the NBA. But with this, you're adding Kyrie Irving into the scenario. And Kyrie Irving is going to be in a situation where he'll be able to be a true number 2, like he was with Kevin Durant. And he'll be optimized in a Western Conference that, frankly, maybe outside of the Nuggets, not a lot of people are super confident. We also have to talk about the fact that Steph Curry, also, if you weren't aware, Steph Curry also will be down at least for the next couple of weeks due to injury. Steph Curry is expected to miss at least a few weeks, a couple of weeks with a left leg injury. Now, some more information has come out on what exactly that injury is. So we will have to see how long he's out with the All-Star break coming out. The short-term prospects, as you can see below, are that he may miss up to 5 games. But there's a potential that he missed more if this injury doesn't heal as quickly, because apparently it's a partial tear. I'm not exactly sure where. I can go do some more research on it. But a partial tear, he'll have to heal up. It's going to cause some discomfort. What will his pain threshold be? We have no idea. But we'll have to find out. And again, we will have to see how his body responds to that. But again, the real news of the day is that Kyrie Irving is now a Dallas Mavericks. Now, so you ask me, what does this mean for the Western Conference as a whole? You got the Denver Nuggets, Memphis Grizzlies, you have the Sacramento Kings, you have the Dallas Mavericks, Los Angeles Clippers, and then you have your Golden State Warriors, your Phoenix Suns. Let me see. Look at all this right now because there were some games played yesterday that kind of shifted it. So you have the Denver Nuggets as the 1 seed, the Memphis Grizzlies the 2 seed, the Sacramento Kings at the 3 seed, the Clippers as the 4 seed, Phoenix as the 5th seed, Dallas as the 6th seed, Golden State as the 7th seed, Minnesota as the 8th seed, the Utah Jazz as the 9th seed, New Orleans Pelicans at the 10th seed, and then you have the Portland Trailblazers, who are sitting at the 11th seed. Then you have Oklahoma City at the 12th seed, the Lakers at the 13th seed, the San Antonio Spurs, who are tanking at the 14th seed, and the Houston Rockets, who are tanking as the 15th seed. So how does this shape out for the Dallas Mavericks as the season goes on? It's a very good question. I think with this move, the Dallas Mavericks might be one of the 4 best teams in the Western Conference, maybe 5th if you want to consider the Phoenix Suns, maybe 6th if you want to consider the Los Angeles Clippers. But here's the thing. I picked before the season that the 3 best teams in the West would be the Denver Nuggets, the Golden State Warriors, and the Los Angeles Clippers. Then the Phoenix Suns shortly after that with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who again they've been jostling. They were all the way up to the 5th seed the other night, and they're back to the 8th seed. So we're in a situation now where Luka's going to have more scoring prowess around him than he's had. And I think that he's going to be able to utilize that. And I think Jason Kidd's going to be able to utilize that. But their defense has been porous, to say the very least, throughout the entire season. I think their defense may rank 26 in the NBA currently. Let me fact check myself. They have not been good. Last year, they finished the season off very well. They were very strong to close out the last end of the year. But this season, the personnel has adjusted, the scheme has adjusted, the effort has adjusted, and they quite simply have not been able to show up in the same way as they did the year before. And that has affected them tremendously. So right now, if we look at their defensive rating, currently in the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks are 24th with a 114.9 defensive rating and a 115 offensive rating. And that offensive rating puts them at ninth. Now, with Kyrie, this assuredly will go up, I believe. Defensively, I think they're going to take a step back. I would argue that Dorian Finney-Smith was their best defender, and now they're sitting in a situation that they're without their best defender. So this is going to cause them to stumble back in some ways. And I don't know how well they'll be able to respond to that. I'm not sold that this move puts them over the top. But I don't think that's what the point of the trade was, to be honest with you. I think what they're looking for is an opportunity to pair the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic with another star player to give him the best opportunity to maximize his window and to get off of some contracts, because now they will have a near max level space in the offseason should they choose to utilize that for one or two players. So putting Luka in a situation where you can maximize the last 30 games of his season in his fifth year, and then give him the opportunity to do so with a player of Kyrie Irving quality. And then on top of that, you're showing him that you're committed. We've given you Kristaps Porzingis. You had Jalen Brunson. Now you also will have Kyrie Irving. So they're showing that they're the level of commitment that they have to him. But the question in the video is this now the best duo in the Western Conference? And I would say that talent, player for player, sure. If you want to say player for player, top 15 talents each, top 20 talents each with Luka and Kyrie, no problem. But I still would say that fully healthy, Steph and Dre, because of the chemistry, Jokic and Murray because of the chemistry, and maybe even prime CP3 and Booker, but I think CP3 has taken a regression. So maybe after that, it will be them outside of Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So I would say the best duos in the Western Conference would be Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. It would be Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and then Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And I would probably take in this instance Steph Curry and Draymond and Jokic and Murray above the rest of them, because right now Jokic and Murray are playing the best out of anyone. But AD and Braun, obviously talent for talent, I would say maybe player for player, both top 11, top 10 players, skill for skill, they're probably the best in the league, but Kyrie and Luka are not far along behind that. But again, a lot of this is going to come down to decision making for Luka and for Kyrie. Are you willing to sacrifice to have more off-ball opportunities? Is the team going to be able to play connected offensively, which I think they will? But defensively, are you going to have to start JaVale McGee? JaVale McGee's minutes had already been restricted because of how he plays with the Mavericks and with Luka. And they wanted to opt more with Christian Wood because, quite frankly, Christian Wood is a better player, at least a better offensive player. But the Mavericks and their fan base, they don't seem to be all that sold on Christian Wood, because Christian Wood is a very one-way level player. But Christian Wood offers things that allows for Luka to maximize his game. Lob threat, floor spacer, and another ISO player on the court. So when you run a set and you want to say, hey, we're just going to go bonkers on offense, you're going to be able to play Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Tim Hardaway Jr., maybe Reggie Bullock and Christian Wood. And that right there, that's a unit. That's a unit. So they want to be in a situation where they can maximize what's in front of them. I think that might be a good situation to be able to do so offensively. Now, defensively, they're getting cooked. You better believe that. They are getting cooked. But offensively, that's serious. Now, I'm going to put this up so you all can see kind of what I'm looking at and how I'm thinking about this. But this is what I would do if I was them. Now, this is what I do in terms of maximizing their offense. I would want to see what Doncic, Irving, Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, and Christian Wood look like offensively. Do not play this for defense. Do not play this for defense. Do not do this because you're trying to start the game. But if you need a bucket and you want to score and you basically want to maximize your opportunity to score, oh yeah. Luka Doncic for Kyrie Irving and Tim Hardaway and Wood and Reggie Bullock. That's money. Now, this is where the other teams will have issues because if you get to a late game situation and they need to be able to score and not defend, then absolutely that's a lineup that you could put out in the court and then you could have a lot of concerns about. And so I think if you were able to play something like that in spot minutes, you're going to supercharge your offense. Now, the question comes down to, can you, the Dallas Mavericks and Jason Kidd, are you going to be able to maximize what you can do offensively along enough to be able to get key stops when they matter? So the Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Christian Wood lineup, I would actually like to see for those purposes. But like I said, in very limited minutes. And again, I don't know what they're going to do for a defensive lineup, but I would definitely say that I think that JaVale McGee is going to have to get some real minutes. I really do think he's going to have to get some real minutes. And I would even say that if I'm putting together a defensive lineup for them, I mean, really, there are not a lot of great options. So let me also say that. Like, it's not like it's a lot of great options. But, sheesh, bro, if I had to put together a defensive lineup for what they could possibly be looking at, and you want to have Luka and Kyrie still in the game, y'all let me know if I'm tripping in the comment section. Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Josh Green, Dwight Powell, JaVale McGee. Is that it? Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Josh Green, Dwight Powell, and JaVale McGee. I mean, is that the best defensive lineup you can put on the court and maximize your stars? Man, that's tough, bro. That's really tough. Now, like I said, I don't know how often you can play this, but you don't only have so many options. And I think that's the downside to getting rid of Dorian Finney. And they were already struggling with this. Again, they're 24th in defense already. They're 24th in defense. So, yeah, and again, I'll make those edits because, you all are saying this, that Kleber is better on D than McGee by a mile. Big Honey says Maxey Powell closed its game for the Mavericks over McGee. So, man, are we looking at Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., or Josh Green with Maxey and Dwight Powell? Golly, bro, I'm not going to hold you. That's terrible. But they're also going to be a 119 per 100 possessions on offense when Luka and Kyrie are in the game, maybe a 118. So that's what it comes down to. Like, I'm predicting personally that their offense is going to be outrageous. But the question is, are they going to be able to sustain that long enough to get enough stops? And I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I really want to hear y'all thoughts on this. I really do. Because it's going to be really interesting to see how they put this together with Kyrie Irving. Let me see here. The Dallas Mavericks have a top 5 offense with Kyrie Irving. That is the question. Now, again, I think that, and this is what I'll say. This continues to go back to Calvin Booth and the incredible job that he did. They're going to get in a situation where they're going to have to play against the Mavericks and the Warriors and the Suns and Memphis. But the fact that Calvin Booth had the foresight to go get Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Christian Brown, and put them next to Aaron Gordon and Zeke Naji, it's going to be so important because the Nuggets' defensive ceiling right now, based on how they played, the Nuggets' defensive ceiling has been a top 5 defense because they've done that. That's who they've been. So people can say what they want and say, well, you don't believe in it, but they've been a top 5 defense. They have been. They've been a top 5 defense for the last several weeks and really the last month and a half. So their ceiling is that. I think where they actually are is going to be between 7 and 10 because that's roughly where they are. since the last 36 games of the year, I know Joel Rush put this out. I think the Denver Nuggets have the 8th best offense last 34 games of the year, or sorry, the 8th best defense the last 34 games of the year. And then they have the first best offense in the NBA and the best net rating. So their ceiling for the Nuggets is obviously very much higher across the board, offensively and defensively. And I think having a lineup where you want to say, hey, bench unit, for instance, Bruce Brown at point, KCP at 2, Christian Brown at 3, Vlatko Cancar at 4, and Zeke Nnaji at the 5. That's your defensive lineup. Now, with the starters, you want to run defense, you're going to be able to have Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Aaron Gordon, and Bruce Brown. But personally, I've said this before, I think that the Denver Nuggets are one player away from being the legit favorites across the board. I think they're still an A favorite with the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, but I do think they need one more defensive player. But again, I don't want to make this about the Nuggets. I'm just simply saying that what is the Mavericks ceiling? The question I have is, can the Dallas Mavericks be a top 5 offense with Kyrie Irving? And I think the answer is yes. I think based on the lineup that we already put out, putting Kyrie next to Luka, next to Reggie, next to Tim Hardaway, next to Christian Wood, really those 3 alone, if you want to say Kyrie, Wood, and Luka, that right there is going to be one of the best offensive trios in basketball, bar none. So they're going to be able to outscore most opponents. And I'm talking about like not in a subtle way. And again, late game shot creation, the end of quarters, putting a lineup out there that features Kyrie and Luka in isolation situations, maybe even 1-2 screens. If you want to go small, put Luka at the 3, and you can maximize some of these smaller defenders. Luka is going to be able to cook in the post, but then having Kyrie to be able to be there. So if you need to do a skip pass because they try to double off of Luka and Kyrie's there, yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity for the Dallas Mavericks. So again, we'll have to see how it works from a long-term perspective with that team. But adds up right now, I think the Dallas Mavericks made the correct move. I mean, you got him for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, 1 first-round pick and like 2 second-round picks, I believe, was the trade package. That's nothing. And then if Kyrie walks, you have almost a max slot available to use on 1 player or 2 players to build around Luka. And you also show Luka in the short term that you believe in him and you believe in his ability and you want to give him the best team possible. So you trade for a star level player. That right there says a lot. And I think that is Mark Cuban communicating to Jason Kidd and Luka Doncic that I believe in you and I trust you. So I think this is a master move by the Mavericks because you get off some contract that you didn't want and you maximize 2 role players and the first round pick that you don't need. And then you get Kyrie Irving back in the process as well. So I absolutely think that the Dallas Mavericks won this trade. Now, if this nets a Western Conference Finals appearance, I don't know. Right now, I wouldn't say so because I still think, even outside of the Denver Nuggets, the Warriors, if they get Steph Curry back and he's healthy by the playoffs, maybe the Suns, because apparently they're going to be in the sweepstakes for Kevin Durant, for OG Anunoby. And then on top of that, and then you also have another opportunity to look at some players and maybe potentially make some moves if you're the Suns. But then even still, you got the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson. The Clippers are 8-3 in their last 11. They might be able to make some moves. Maybe they make a swing for another player. But then even outside of that, the Sacramento Kings have shown that they are a real team. And if you ever heard me talk, I have said many, many times that the most important thing for basketball teams to be championship contenders is team chemistry and connectivity. How well are you able to play together on offense, on defense, to close quarters, to come back from deficits, and to close games? Because a lot of how you're able to elevate yourself as a team is having individual talent on the court that's able to excel in high pressure moments. So, individual talent, Kyrie, Luka, special. Individual players, both of them are top 4, top 20 players. But together, we're going to have to see how their chemistry looks. Now, when James Harden went to Joel Embiid, I think they went 16 and maybe 16-8 in their last 24 games. I think that might have been what their record was, maybe even a little worse than that or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But that first trade that they made and they came back, they played the Minnesota Timberwolves. And y'all got to remember, Minnesota wasn't playing bad. They were playing pretty good. Like, they had Cat and they had Jared Vanderbilt, and they were giving people problems. And they walked in there and they just blitzed the Timberwolves. But I think James Harden and Joel Embiid are so much more of a natural fit. Joel Embiid is a dominant scorer who requires the ball. James Harden is a dominant playmaker who's also an elite level scorer, and he could make plays with anybody around him. So James Harden has been able to accelerate Joel Embiid's growth, and Joel Embiid has been able to maximize James Harden because of the nature of the positions that they play and how they have to merge together. So their connectivity and chemistry was much different, even though they hadn't played together before that. Kyrie and Luka, I don't know. Kyrie and KD worked. Now, I will say, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan and you want to have hope, do I believe as a Mavericks fan that this could work? I would then say to you that the hope is, and the encouraging thing is, we saw Kyrie do this. Kyrie did this with James Harden. I don't know if y'all remember, when James Harden first got to the Nets, he was up for the MVP. And this was Jokic's first year winning the MVP in 2020, 2021. James Harden averaged 25 points a game and 12 assists a game and had crazy levels of efficiency. Kyrie Irving was averaging 27 basically, shooting 50, 40, 90 when James Harden was there during that stretch, playing incredible off-ball. So what I would say, if you are a Dallas Mavericks fan, I would go pull up film from the very few games that James Harden and Kyrie played together, and maybe you can get a little bit of a simulation of what it can look like with those two on the court. The difference is they also had, Kevin Durant, and James Harden also is a better player than Kyrie. But, Luka's also better than James was, I think, at that point in time as well. So, like I said, I think this is a win for Luka. This is a win for the Mavericks organization. This is a win for the Mavericks' long-term prospects for Luka Doncic. This is a win for their cap space. This is a win for next offseason if they want to resign Kyrie or get another player or get another two players. And again, that's important for them because they're furthering their agenda and their narrative to make sure that Luka Doncic believes in the team and believes in ownership. Because what you don't want is a player of that caliber to feel that he cannot trust the team and he can't trust the players around him to do their jobs. Kyrie Irving, you will not have that issue so long as he is available. Now, we already know that there's things off court that have affected Kyrie's ability to stay on the court, whether it be injuries, whether it be the stuff that happened this year with promoting a video that had anti-Semitic language in it, whether it be the COVID protocols and the vaccine stuff. If Kyrie is able to put all of that stuff behind him and is able to play on the court, it might be something, bro. It might be something. And at the very least, this is going to give a lot of headaches to a lot of teams. And can you forge a defensive identity that is significant enough to be able to put you in a prominent situation when you need to get stops? When you need to get stops. That's the main question. And we'll have to find out. That's going to be up to Jason Kidd. And that's going to be up to Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic committing to playing defense on that side of the ball. But outside of that, y'all, man, I think the Dallas Mavericks might have a show. I really do. Now, we'll have to see how successful it's going to be. But if I'm Luka, I feel good. If I'm Kyrie, you're out of a situation you didn't want to be in. You're looking for a long-term contract. Do you want to be in Dallas? Do you want to play next to Luka? Do you believe in that situation enough? Do you want to play with Mark Cuban? Those are all questions that will have to be answered. But right now, in the short term, in the intermediate, you have to believe in the fact that the Dallas Mavericks are doing whatever they can to fortify their young star with another star-level player. And they did that with Kyrie Irving. And that ultimately is what matters most. So, we're going to have to see how it goes. We're going to have to see how the team plays together. We're going to have to see if Kyrie's able to stay on the court, stay healthy, all the other stuff, all the stuff that we already know there are questions to be had. But the good news is the Dallas Mavericks have made a move and they've done something significant. Hopefully, this helps. can't get along here, y'all. Hit the like button, share the video, tell the people what time it is, where you get your favorite NBA. What's Spiping Cam? We are on the way to 10,000 subscribers, y'all. Hey, y'all know what time it is, y'all. I will see y'all soon, and we out.